Hey everyone, and welcome. As a business analyst, you're the person who turns brilliant ideas into actual working solutions. But how do you do that without the whole project just spiraling into chaos? Well, today we're decoding the software development lifecycle, or SDLC. This is basically the master map you need to guide any project to a successful launch. Let's dive in. Okay, so just imagine this for a second. The business comes up with an absolutely amazing idea. Everybody's fired up. But then that big question hits. Okay, how do we, actually build this thing? Because without a plan, a real structured process, you're just asking for trouble. Missed deadlines, blown budgets, and worst of all, a product that doesn't even do what it was supposed to do. What you really need is a map. And that map, my friends, is the software development lifecycle. You can think of it like a recipe for building software. It's a set of really clear phases from the initial planning all the way through to deployment and keeping it running that makes sure projects get delivered in a smart, systematic way. And for you, as the business analyst, this isn't just some boring textbook theory. This is the master guide for the entire project. Now, there are a few different routes you can take on this journey. So let's start with the classic, the original road trip plan, if you will, the waterfall model. And what's really great about this slide is how perfectly it shows the idea. Just like a real waterfall, the process only flows one way, down. You have to finish one phase completely, like gathering all the requirements, before you can even think about moving on to the next phase, like designing the system. There is absolutely no going back up to waterfall. So the key thing to get here is its rigidity. As a BA, that means the pressure is really on you to get every single requirement absolutely perfect and signed off right from the get-go. Now, it's great for projects where you know things aren't going to change, like that hospital system that has to follow a bunch of fixed government rules. But the huge downside, all the testing happens at the very, very end. And if you find a major flaw then, oh boy, it's going to be incredibly expensive and painful to fix. You know that big risk of finding errors super late in the game? Well, that led to an evolution of the process. So let's head to our next stop and see how this works, the V model, which I like to call the quality checked route. And this image just nails the difference. See, it's still sequential, kind of like waterfall, but notice that V shape. For every single development phase you see on the left side, there's a matching testing phase already planned out on the right. So as you go down the V, defining requirements and designing the system, you're also planning exactly how you're going to test it on the way back up. This is a total game changer. With waterfall, testing can sometimes feel like a bit of an afterthought, right? But with the V model, it's a parallel activity that's planned from day one. It basically bakes quality assurance into the entire process instead of just tacking it on at the end. All this focus on early test planning means you get incredible quality control. As a BA, this model makes your life so much easier because it forces a direct link between every requirement you write and a specific test case. It's absolutely perfect for those projects where failure is just not an option. We're talking medical device software, defense systems, that kind of thing. The trade-off? Well, it's still pretty rigid. If the requirements change halfway through, it's just as costly to deal with as it is in Waterfall. Of course, in the real world, not every project has perfectly fixed requirements right from the start. That rigidity we've been talking about, well, it led to the creation of much more flexible, adaptive routes. Let's take a quick look at a few of these more modern approaches. First up, we have the iterative model. With this one, you build and release the software in small, repeated cycles. For you as a BA, this means you're not trying to nail down every little detail up front. Instead, you're focused on getting a basic working version into your users' hands early, gathering their feedback, and then using that real-world input to improve things for the next cycle. Then we've got the spiral model. A good way to think about this is to take the iterative model and add a heavy dose of risk analysis at every single turn of the spiral. If you're a BA on a big, complex, and risky project, your job here is to basically become a risk detective, always on the lookout for what could go wrong and making sure the project stays on the right path. And of course, Agile, a model you are going to see everywhere. This isn't one single rigid plan, it's more of a mindset, all about being flexible and moving fast. Projects get broken down into these short cycles called sprints, which lets the team deliver value all the time and adapt to changes super quickly. As a BA in an Agile world, you are right in the center of all this. You're constantly talking with developers and stakeholders, prioritizing features and clarifying requirements in real time. You're the key to making sure the team can respond to what the market needs fast. Okay, so we've got all these different maps, all these different routes, but why is knowing all this so incredibly important for you, the business analyst?
because you're not just along for the ride on this journey, you are the guide.
Your role is to be that bridge. When you really get these models, you can manage stakeholder expectations like a pro. You can explain exactly why they won't see a working product for months in a waterfall project. You can leverage the V model to guarantee that every single business need is actually tested. But most importantly, you can look at a project's goals, its budget, and its risks, and recommend the right model right from the very beginning. And really, this is the ultimate goal, isn't it? This knowledge elevates you. You stop being just the person who writes down requirements, and you become a strategic, trusted advisor who's actively shaping how the project will succeed. You become a true powerhouse for delivery. So the next time a brand new project lands on your desk, you'll have the map in your hand. You'll know all the different paths you can take, and you'll understand the pros and cons of each one. The only question left will be, which route are you going to recommend?